Every morning, a wealthy businessman passed through the crowded railway station on his way to work. Near the station entrance sat an old beggar with torn clothes and silver hair. But unlike other beggars, the old man never stretched out his hand for money. He simply sat quietly, feeding crumbs to the birds nearby. People ignored him. Some mocked him, but the old man always smiled peacefully. One afternoon, the businessman stopped in front of him and laughed. "If you're poor, at least learn to beg properly." He pulled out a 500 note and threw it onto the ground. The note landed near the old man's feet. But surprisingly, the old man didn't pick it up. Instead, he looked calmly at the businessman and said, "Keep it with you. Very soon you may need it more than I do." The businessman burst into laughter. "You? Feeling sorry for me? Look at yourself." He walked away proudly while people around chuckled at the strange conversation. A few days later, the businessman discovered that his business partners had betrayed him. His company collapsed overnight. Bank accounts were frozen. His house was seized, and even worse, the friends who once surrounded him disappeared instantly. The family members who enjoyed his wealth slowly abandoned him too. Within days, the man who once owned luxury cars had nowhere left to go. Broken and exhausted, he sat alone outside the same railway station late one rainy evening. For the first time in his life, he understood what helplessness felt like. As rain poured heavily around him, people rushed past without even looking at him. Just then, someone quietly placed a warm box of food beside him. The businessman slowly looked up and froze. It was the same old beggar. The businessman lowered his eyes in shame. "After the way I treated you, why are you helping me?" The old man sat beside him gently. Then he smiled. "Because many years ago, you once helped me." The businessman looked confused. The old man continued softly. 20 years ago, I was a hungry delivery boy. I hadn't eaten for 2 days. I fainted near this same station. That day, a young man bought me food and water. Before leaving, he said, 'Take care of yourself. One small act of kindness can save a life.'" The businessman's hands slowly trembled. Those were his exact words. But he barely remembered saying them. The old man smiled warmly. "That single meal gave me hope. I worked hard, built businesses, and became richer than I ever dreamed." The businessman stared at him in shock and asked, "Then why are you living like this now?" The old man looked toward the rainy sky. Tears slowly filled his eyes. "Years later, I lost my wife and daughter in an accident. After that, money no longer meant anything to me. So I gave away most of my wealth and chose to spend my life helping forgotten people." The businessman broke down crying, not because he lost his riches, but because he realized something painful. The poor old beggar he mocked was once far richer than him, not just in money, but in heart. The old man gently handed him the same 500 Indian rupees note, the note he had thrown days earlier. The businessman stared at it silently. Then the old man smiled and said, "Never judge someone by the chapter of life you happened to see." And for the first time in many years, the businessman truly understood the value of kindness. After that night, he began rebuilding his life slowly with honesty and humility. Instead of reopening a giant luxury business, he started a small food service helping poor railway workers and homeless people. He used whatever skills he had to create jobs for struggling people. Over time, people respected him again, not because he was wealthy, but because he became compassionate. And eventually, he became richer in peace than he ever was in money. Life can change anyone's story in a single moment. So never be proud of money, status, or success. Because true greatness is not in wealth. It is in kindness, humility, and the way we treat others.